But Cobre is in the perfect position now to move from an advanced exploration company into a producer. And this acquisition really allows us to leapfrog forward into a fantastic production opportunity with enormous growth. And that's not even touching on the exploration aspects of this project. The reason we were in a position to make this acquisition really hinges off the relationship between our chairman, Martin Holland, and the mine owner, Martin Baudin.
So there's quite a long story about this acquisition and how it unfolded. I've been looking at this project now for the last couple of years. I have a very strong relationship with the person who owns this asset. His name is Martin Baudin. Historically, I did a very similar earn-in agreement with a company called Lithium Power International, where that project itself was in partnership with Martin Baudin. We raised in excess of $100 million for that company, and that company was taken out by Codelco, which is one of the world's largest copper producers, for around 400 million Australian dollars. We are repeating that same process that we did historically. Instead now of it being in lithium, we are now in copper, and we have a very serious asset here in Chile that we can now move ahead, knowing all the steps that we've done historically, we can do again with this project.
The most important thing that between me and Martin, that it's the trust that we have between ourselves. Martin it's a head stockholder of a company named Cobre, and when he knew that I was in the copper business, immediately he called me, and I was very thrilled. And I say, "Hi, Marty, how are you?" And he said, "Well, Martin, I knew that you bought a mine company in the north of Chile." And I said, "Yeah, of course." And frankly speaking, I said to him that the main problem that this company has, it's that I don't know a lot about mining. It's a real new project, and I'm very thrilled, but I have to go through many problems, and I really will need some help from a guy that I can trust. And Martin said, "Martin, are you available next week?" What do you mean next week? "Yeah, next week."
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's certainly not something you see come across your desk very often. And essentially, we pounced when we had the opportunity.
So this mine is extremely important for Cobre's portfolio. The reason being is that this moves us from an explorer developer into a producer at a time where the market and the world needs an exceptional amount of copper. This movement allows Cobre to actually produce a copper cathode immediately. And again, it works in parallel with our development strategy that we have to produce a copper cathode as well out of Botswana.
Antofagasta as a region is a well-developed mining hub. You've got access to ports, you've got access to mining equipment, mining gear. Essentially, it's one of the easiest regions you could explore in.
Normally, these deposits sit at quite high altitudes in Chile. This is only around about 1,200 meters, which is quite low. And there's a clear road and highway all the way from the port straight to this mine site. So the infrastructure is absolutely fantastic. The location is fantastic. Chile as a country is a well-known, as I mentioned earlier, well-known producer of copper. And now with a very positive precedent in Chile, there couldn't be a better time to be in Chile to actually be producing this commodity.
This acquisition and this mining company give us global exposure to copper and give us a whole exposure across the exploration cycle, from greenfields exploration to advanced projects to development projects to producing asset. This makes the company a global copper producer. We've had a really good run with Cobre over the last 6 months. We've had enormous traction, and we certainly see that value accretion in our share price from our Botswana assets. Right now, it puts us into the sort of size that we needed to make this acquisition. And to be honest, again, this acquisition comes up once in a lifetime, and we were really in the perfect position to actually grab it.
The Sierra Atacama mine potential is something that pretty much every mining company would dream of. Personally, I didn't think these projects existed anymore. Having a project that has an open pit under an NI 43-101 that we can transform pretty much immediately into a JORC resource, having the infrastructure already in play with the SXW plant already in operation, already producing copper, we can optimize this mine to increase our output quite significantly throughout the year. The time frames that we have saved here as a company from a permitting perspective, having the mining licenses in place, having the environmental permits already in place, having the access to the grid, having access to the water, all the pipes and pumping work already in place. This has literally leapfrogged Cobre, I would say, circa 10 years. So this project itself is so valuable. It's adjacent to multi-billion-dollar companies that have similar massive scale resources. One listed on the ASX with a market cap of around 1.5 billion, and the other one being Capstone, capped at around 11 billion. Our geologists walk around the ground. I was there only a couple of weeks ago. You see outcropping copper all up the surface. It's going to be some of the easiest exploration in the world. No sand cover, very little sand cover, which allows us for immediate exploration to occur in parallel with increasing our mine development.
Sierra Atacama has been mined off and on for a few periods in history. It was mined from the early 2000s until about 2012. This resulted in production in the order of probably around 10 million tons with a copper grade of about 0.6%. The mine hasn't been in production, went through a phase where it wasn't in production up until about 2018 to 2019, when production was restarted on a much smaller scale. The exploration has lagged behind substantially. There's an enormous opportunity for new discoveries across the property. To be honest, this is one of the few areas where you can literally walk across outcropping copper mineralization in a district with such substantial deposits. It's quite phenomenal.
Well, Sierra Atacama was an already mine that it was working with, but with many problems and without a clear focus on the final objective. So I would like to say my thanks publicly to Martin Holland and his team.
So this is a very critical part, having the team, the experts with you to actually transform this project and this mine is critical. We have a very experienced team of mining engineers as well that are already on site. We're already optimizing the project as we speak right now. We're also appointing Phil Mitchell. He used to be one of the heads of Rio Tinto, and did a lot of work for Robert Friedland as well in mergers acquisitions from an operational perspective. He's joining our advisory committee. So we have the team, we have the people. We also have the in-country people with around 220 Chileans currently working on the mine itself. So for us to be able to bring in our expertise and to manage all these people correctly is going to be the pathway for real success here on this project.
We've spent the last 3 weeks running through the operations with our team of engineers. As soon as we fix the electrification, we'll see enormous cost savings through the whole processing and electrowinning aspects of this operation. The next big step is to actually increase tonnage. This mine was designed to produce more than double the tonnage that it's currently running at. Here we'll see a significant improvement in OPEX and profitability across the mine as soon as we improve tonnage.
My expectations are immense. We will be going step by step production. Today we are in a 400, but I know that in a couple of months we'll be in 5, maybe 600 metric tons per month. and hopefully by the end of the year will be over 700 metric tons. It could be 1,000.
Now we see three different avenues for the ramp up in tonnage. The first one is obviously an optimization of the existing mine. It's relatively straightforward with fairly minimal capex to grow the existing production. The second aspect that we're looking at is we have about 10 million tons of old heap leach pads. These are still running at grade. There's 0.2 to 0.3% copper according to some of the assays we've received. There's a tremendous opportunity here to reprocess these old heap leaches, which were running at about 50% recovery back in the early 2000s, using modern technology to supplement the existing production. So this could be an opportunity right on the doorstep of the mine. In addition to that, there's a few outcropping examples of mineralization that look very amenable to open pit mining. We're in the process of converting and reapplying for an open pit license over the property. And as soon as we can open pit, we can start ramping up and increasing production through the plant again. So basically three separate avenues where we see an immediate turnaround in production, and this will return the mine to profitability.
We're gonna be improving all the methods and the style that we are operating the mine, thanks to the Cobre team.
There's only a small amount of capex. The other half of the plant is in very good order. There's barely any rain here. It's very dry. There's no salt. So the equipment and infrastructure and the plant is actually in very good condition, which means very minimal capex required to ramp up to that 25,000 tons a year goal.
Look, all around, this is one of the easiest areas to operate in. The access to infrastructure is incredible. The access to expertise is fantastic, as well as your ability to mine and explore so effectively. This is probably one of the easiest jurisdictions I've worked in my career.